Legacy of Valor is an upcoming medieval simulation game inspired by games like Mount and Blade. There are a lot of differences though, and that includes how you start the game. In Mount and Blade, you can basically wander around however you'd like, but Legacy of Valor starts at the point where you're starting to build up your own stronghold. It focuses more on the base building side of things and creating your own town and expanding that over time. They've said that the biggest way Legacy of Valor differs from Mount and Blade is in the perspective and where you spend most of your time. In Mount and Blade, a lot of time is spent on the strategic map, walking from place to place, gathering your army together, finding bandit camps to attack, and visiting various cities. In Legacy of Valor, a lot more time is spent in third-person mode, placing the focus more on the role-playing side of things, where you're experiencing the world, walking through your lands, and watching the simulation take place in real time. It will also have a strategy map and a different perspective for building, but more of the game is spent in third person. As you're making decisions, you will actually see how that affects the people in your stronghold. Where it really starts to feel much more like Mount and Blade is in the massive battles that you take part in. You'll lead those armies against a variety of different enemies like bandits, rival lords, or armies of the crown. There will be a variety of different locales that all of these battles take place in, just like in Mount and Blade. You can defend your own castle or lay siege. You may end up in the open field. It also seems like Legacy of Valor will take a different angle on the story side of things. The story of Mount and Blade is relatively bare bones and serves as a setup to get you started in the world and set you on your path. Legacy of Valor will have a choice-rich narrative full of different paths that have consequences. But for those of you that want more of a sandbox, don't worry, because that is a huge part of the game as well. Once the main storyline is complete, the game completely opens up into sandbox mode and breaks free of the restraints of the storyline. Kind of very similar to Mount and Blade in that way, but there's just more emphasis on that story in the beginning. That allows you to continue expanding your territory, do quests, fight bandits, or attack neighboring provinces, and the sandbox mode is where it opens up and starts to feel much more familiar to fans of Mount and Blade, and offers a lot of the same experiences. You can make your own alliances, conquer everything, or just wander around. They've said that they mean for the sandbox mode to still be very dynamic and fun, not just an afterthought, but a fully fleshed out experience, and possibly even where many people will spend most of their time. They're attempting to combine both parts, with a narrative that is engaging, but also the more open free mode, which won't necessarily be that easy. I've always thought that the engine and the systems of Mount and Blade would be perfect to add a story on top of. They've already got all of the systems that you'd want already available, and Legacy of Valor is putting a lot of thought into the role-playing systems that they'll be adding to the game. This is meant to have deep systems, moral choices that want you to feel like you have the ability to change the world as you're playing. You can take on different roles, whether you just want to be the guy that spends all his time smashing through armies, or if you want to play as a strategist, crafting scenarios that play out in your favor, or you can even be a master diplomat and expand through negotiation. The combat system is meant to be skill-based, with all sorts of different kinds of weapons like swords, polearms, and bows, and you'll spend time improving your gear and the gear of the people following you. You can choose where you'd like to focus your time. You don't have to be the one that micromanages all of the different complex systems for your stronghold, though you can do that. You can also have the AI do that for you and assign someone to do it. You can spend all of your time engaging in the combat if that's what you want to do. You could even set off and run around the world, adventuring and doing quests, and let your stronghold be completely automated. And if something happens, you'll get a message sent out to you in the game. You can decide what you'd like to do with that, whether you decide to leave whatever you're doing and run back home, or if you choose to ignore it and let it happen without you. Your choices will have consequences, though. For the combat, they've split things into two different groups. One group is your warband. This will be the people that you interact with closer, the characters that you end up really caring about. Your army will be the grunts that fill out your forces. So you'll have less of a personal relationship with those. Legacy of Valor is a really interesting combination of multiple different genres. It takes a lot of ideas from Mount & Blade and plays out a simulation, but they've also talked about being inspired by Kingdom Come Deliverance, the Total War series, and The Witcher. So what they're putting together is a very ambitious game that is a hybrid of multiple genres. Not a lot of people try to do that sort of thing because it is very difficult. That means a few things. This is an unproven developer, so they will have to prove to us that they can handle this and actually still make it fun. The good part is that they're pulling people into the process and allowing them to try the game through playtests. So people can go into their Discord and get into playtests right now even. But it's hard to tell exactly where Legacy of Valor will land in the end, if they can pull this off, or whether that will all fall flat. So it's going to be cautiously optimistic here and accept that this is going to take some time. They had a Kickstarter that ended within the last year, so development isn't that far in. It could be some time before we see anything substantial. So if you enjoy games like Mount & Blade, definitely keep this game in mind. The blend of strategy elements and combat definitely looks right up my alley as a fan of games like that, so make sure to wishlist Legacy of Valor. I've also done an entire video about games like Kenshi and Mount & Blade, some of which you can play right now, so go take a look at that. I'm sure you'll find something interesting there, and for more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.